Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Behind the Smile. Today in the studio, I feel like I'm going to get emotional already. Is one of my most beautiful, special, lifelong soul sister friends, Edwina Swerk. Edwina is a mum to 3 beautiful boys, as well as being a wife, sister and daughter. She's also a new dog owner to a mini Groodle called Dash, balancing the beautiful chaos of family life with a career in IT. She's navigating motherhood, marriage, and the everyday roller coaster of being human. Edwina's life was turned upside down after the sudden death of her brother in 2021, which coincided with her exploration into an alcohol-free life. She's one of my closest friends, as I mentioned. I've known her for over 25 years, and she seriously is to me a true soul sister. So I am beyond grateful and excited and every other emotion I could possibly describe to be here with you today. Edwina, welcome to Behind the Smile.
Thank you so much. This is just
I feel like we're both starting to cry already.
I know, as soon as you start going, I'm like, oh great, now I'm going to cry.
Oh my gosh.
This is lovely. Thank you for inviting me on.
My goodness. And something else I should mention is Edwina could probably do this interview better than me. I reckon you are the number one listener of the podcast. You've pretty much listened to every episode.
Yep.
And I like that. Just means the absolute world to me, as you know. Like, incredible the support that you've shown me, the amount of people that you've told about the podcast. You're such a beautiful friend. You're such a great support. And I fully acknowledge the level of courage and vulnerability it takes for you to be here today. So,
well, I'm very flattered for being asked.
Aww.
And I would genuinely listen to this podcast even if it wasn't for you. I mean, I started because you're my best friend, so I'm like, great, I'll listen, and I love it. And it's profoundly changed my life listening to everyone else's stories. And so the opportunity to come on here today to share my story, and if that helps a person, amazing. And it's cathartic as well to be able to share your story and talk about it, and especially with your bestie.
Ooh, I'm so excited. Well, you know what's next. I'm going to ask you 3 nice, simple questions so that our audience can get to know you a little bit better today. So, Edwina, can you please share, where do you live? What does an average day look like? And what do you do for fun?
Yep. So I live here in Bayside. I'm a Brighton East girl. I have lived here my whole life. I've never ventured very far. I live with my husband and my beautiful 3 sons. I've got a 10-year-old, an 8-year-old and a 4-year-old, all boys. It's a very busy house. It's a frat house. We've added a dog to the mix in the middle of last year, which is delightful. I work 4 days a week for an IT in tech. So that they're 4 full days of work. And then juggling all the boys, their school and a lot of extracurricular stuff. It's a very busy life. What do I do for fun? I love hanging around with my kids and my husband. One of my favourite things about having become a mum is the play. Going back to an excuse to be a kid again and to be able to play. I love that. I love getting to hang out with them. Love board games. Cannot beat any of them in chess anymore. Actually, the 4-year-old I could, but yeah.
Zach.
He's not prodigious. Don't worry. This is not. And we like getting out. I love going to the movies. We had our little movie date.
We did have a movie date. That was so cute.
Love going to the movies. Love live music. That is like my going to concerts.
You do.
Yeah,
yes.
That's my jam. I love that. That is number one. Just good music, good friends, sharing a meal, having people over for meals. I love cooking. That's my happy place.
You've always been a great entertainer. Even from when we were really young, it would always be your house that we would go to, especially when you weren't living, like you left the nest and moved into your own place. I remember we'd have these like wild parties, especially, and you love a theme and you love a dress up.
Love a theme.
I wonder if that's going to filter through to any of the boys.
Oh, always. Yeah, we have the most epic dress up collection for the kids already, and constant, like lockdown, those 2 years is pretty much just us running around in dress ups and music playing, just being nuts.
And I should point out that you are here with a brace pretty much covering the entirety of your leg. For those who aren't watching the video version of this podcast today, what's happened here?
Yep, so this is a delightful netball injury. Don't try and take up a very high impact sport in your late 30s. So last December in our last game of the season, I jumped and went for the ball and landed and ruptured my ACL completely and tore my meniscus in 2 places. So I've had a knee reconstruction to start the year off, and I am 4 weeks into a 6-week recovery of a full leg brace and crutches. So that is slowed me down, and that has been a very interesting thing to have to learn how to stop. And
what have you started to uncover in that experience? Also to mention that you've got a 2-story house.
Yep.
So your bedroom's upstairs.
Yep.
So just even you were sharing the other day, like to make a cup of tea.
Yeah, okay, I can't take it up. I have to. Thank God we got a home phone recently, so I can actually on my mobile I ring downstairs.
Oh, you're kidding!
And I can put in an order to the boys. Then I had to answer the phone and make a cup of tea. So it's okay.
That's really cute.
So it's sitting still, feeling useless, not being able to. I have a lot of my self-worth, and I've had to unpack this and try and do a lot of work on this in previous years as well, not just right now. What I can do for people, that's why they love me. That's been a huge, if I'm not of use and I'm not, if I haven't got output, then I'm not useful, I'm not lovable. So it's been a huge thing, having to learn that, relying so heavily on my husband, who's been so happy and willing to look after me and be my nurse, and the kids as well. It gives them a sense of purpose. I've been great, but it's really confronting to feel not useful. And also I've always been such a strong, active, fit person. So for your body to fail you is then like identity is just being taken a bit of a hit.
Literally dismantled, pulled apart, and it's almost like now you get to put the pieces back together.
Yeah.
But I feel like you've done so much work on yourself, particularly over the last sort of 5 years, that you're going into this now. It's almost like I'm seeing it as the universe giving you an opportunity to choose your next chapter. Like it's almost like this pause. I was chatting to someone about this morning. We went for a walk around the tan, and she was talking about taking a break from work. She's highly ambitious. She's incredibly successful. And I said, you know, she's nervous about losing that ambition. I said, you're not going to lose that. That's inherent within you. But what you might be missing at the right now is the opportunity to see what's next and to maybe choose a different path. Because when we stay stuck in the busy, we don't have time to actually go, is this fulfilling me?
Yep.
Is this what I want to be doing next? What do I want the next 10 years to look like? And how can I start to co-create with the universe to achieve that? Have you had any thoughts about that? I know I've been sending you those meditations.
I'm loving them. I love a Joe Dispenza meditation.
How good are they?
Honestly, I don't get through all of them, and sometimes it'll be interrupted by a little person. My 4-year-old is obsessed with, we have to start the day cuddling in bed. He'll come in and gets very angry if I'm already downstairs. He goes, I can't snuggle you up. So he's just, but it's that breathing space and that room is a gift to be, like that is a true luxury to be able to have that time, to be able to sit there and just think. And I had this happened 5 years ago, I would have been so angry and so filthy, and the pity party would have lasted a really long time. The day I found out I had to have surgery, I really ugly cried, rang my sister, and then I was like, right, okay, we're getting on with it. And I can adapt a bit quick because the universe, it's not trying to punish you. Things are happening, they're gifts. One of my favourite Chinese proverbs is the story about the man and his son, and he goes out and finds a wild horse and brings him back, and people say, oh, you're so lucky you've got the horse. He goes, oh, yes, no, don't know, we'll see. And then the son breaks his leg while he's doing it. Goes, oh, you're so unlucky. Oh, yes, no, we'll see. And then war comes and his son can't be conscripted because he's got the broken leg. And they go, you're so lucky. He goes, yes, no, we'll see. And it keeps going on like that. And it's just life is... It's a complete journey. We don't know what the end story is, the end point of, like, it's being written as we're going, but learning to have so much faith and surrender, just that really just, okay, this is the cards I've been dealt right now. How's the best way I can deal with it, and what's ahead, I don't know.
And I think that the lived experience that you have had, particularly with, you know, I think it's related to your photos, so maybe we'll go there now. That's really, I think when you go through such a big trauma as what you've experienced, it puts a lot of other things into perspective.
Yeah.
So, Dwin, can we talk about your photo? I've asked you to bring in a photo today from a time in your life where you were hiding behind a smile. So you were presenting one version of yourself externally, but internally you were really struggling. We're going to bring the photo up on the screen now. Yep. For those who are listening, can you describe what are we looking at here in this photo, and then go into what was really going on for you at that time in your life?
I know this one so well. This is a photo of me on a cliff top overlooking a beach in Inverloch down in Victoria. It's a windy, cold day. I'm in my raincoat. Out of the frame, I've got one of my middle child. He's about 3 at the time, and he's running and looks and sort of got my sunnies on. It's sunny, and I'm smiling or laughing at something. And so from the outside, that looks like just such a lovely family.
Wholesome,
lovely family shot. And in a way it was beautiful family time. That photo was taken in April, the start of April 2021. And so that, and I'm so going to get emotional.
It's okay.
So that is a holiday, that's the Easter holidays. I am there with my husband and my 2 sons. I am pregnant at that time with my 3rd child. I don't think hadn't told, it was still early, so I hadn't told the boys yet that we were expecting. It had taken 6 months to get pregnant, so when we found out, it was amazing news. It was, I think, February we found out. It was super, super exciting. I then, a week or 2 after finding out, I actually had a bleed and I thought I was miscarrying, and so was really, really upset by that. Had to get a scan, and they checked, wasn't ectopic. It was there, and they said 50-50 chance. We just got to wait 2 weeks now to see if there's a heartbeat at the next scan. So sit and wait, and that time was just this, am I, aren't I, this is what, and so lots of soul searching there. And then on the 18th of March, it was a Thursday evening, and we just finished family dinner. I'm exhausted, thinking I'm going to get an early night. And there's a message that comes through on the family chat from my sister-in-law saying that my brother Hamish has collapsed at home, and they are in an ambulance on the way to the hospital. It's not looking good. It's pretty serious, so if we all want to come into the hospital. My brother was 40 years old. He'd broken his leg a couple of weeks before. He'd been playing with his kids in a really hilly garden, tripped over, broke his leg. At this point, I'm thinking it's a heart attack. And Dad had a heart attack. We've sort of got high cholesterol in the family. Thought, okay, it's a heart attack. He's going to have to go into surgery. This is going to be such a wake-up call for him. Get really fit and healthy. It's okay. My mum came and picked me up. We had to drive out from Brighton out to Ringwood in peak hour. So it was about 45, 50-minute drive. And I, reassuring Mum, I'm like, it's going to be fine. It's going to be okay. It's all okay. He will be. He's tough. He's a fighter. Dad survived this. We're going to be okay. And I realised about 10 minutes before getting there, my sister rang, and you know when you know someone so deeply and their tone of voice, and it just alerts you, and she'd said, are you driving or is Mum driving? And just that calm, calculated fact-finding, you're just immediately like, oh, my God. Mm-hmm. Mum was driving, and she said, okay, so they've said you guys are welcome to park just right out the front. Don't go to the car park. You just go straight to the emergency parking. And you're like, oh, okay. It's funny how you can just relive these moments. And so we parked. We walked into the emergency, and we walked in, and my brother is there with the mechanical compression. At this point, it had been going for about an hour and a half, and purely they were keeping his heart beating so we could get there to say goodbye. He had, long story short, he had developed a deep vein thrombosis from the broken leg, and died of pulmonary embolism. He's just had too many clots. They tried lots of things there at the house in the ambulance. They just couldn't dissolve the clots. It was too late. So yes, on that Thursday night we were suddenly, and I remember I was holding his hand. My sister was up near his head. Mum was holding his other hand, and hearing my mum. I mean, it was shocking, and his wife was just cradling him. It's such a beautiful love, and hearing Mum saying, like, when they said sorry, like, we have to turn him off. He's gone. And that it's not my boy. Please, just not my, like, it just literally seeing someone's heart, like, and feeling it, and the shock, and having to call Jake. It would have been 7:30 at this point, and he's like, oh, how's things? And having to say, Hamish has died, and it feels still a bit surreal now that this is our reality, that we don't have, this doesn't happen to us. This is like And so that's mid-March. We had to wait a few weeks for the funeral because it was a 40-year-old man shouldn't suddenly drop dead. So we had to get autopsy and get that all. I'm jumping around a bit here.
It's okay.
So Thursday he died. Friday morning, 9 a.m, I had to go in and get a scan to check if there's a heartbeat for the baby. And we'd stayed all night at the hospital. They were really, really amazing there. They were phenomenal. They gave us a room. We just got to sit with Hamish all night, got to say goodbye to him, have our final words. His kids came in and were able to say goodbye to their dad. My dad at the time was driving up from Aireys Inlet. I had to call him on the way to let him know it was awful. And then so going into this appointment on the Friday morning and 2021, so we're COVID days, like we weren't in an outbreak at that time, but still numbers. So Jake didn't even come with me. It was just me at the appointment. I think I'd sort of said like I think I was being quite tough and I can do it.
Jake's your husband.
My husband, yes. And so I got the scan and there was a heartbeat, and the poor ultrasound technician, I just immediately burst into tears. He's like, is this a good thing? I'm like, yeah, this is so good, but my brother just dropped dead last night. And he's just like, oh my God, okay, you don't have to pay for this appointment. This one's on there. And it just, and so then a couple of weeks later, so in Verloc, we on the holiday. That holiday, I had rented the house to have Mum and my brother and his family and my sister and all of us to have a lovely. It was our first year of school holidays, school-age kids, and so that was awful. That holiday, it was lovely and awful at the same time. Beautiful having the time with my husband and kids. Awful because driving up, being so grief-stricken.
Yeah.
And walking into this house and it's like a sliding doors. This is what should have been.
Yeah.
My brother should be staying in that room. His kids should be here. Mum, we should all be out. And instead it was just this empty, like I'd break down and just sob at times. And you know that level of grief all too well, that it is literally a part of your heart dies. And that has never... Like it will never repair. It's always going to be that little bit missing, and that like punched in the guts kind of level of grief. So yeah, that photo. That's family time, beach time. Was my husband's birthday during that time. We actually had to drive back to Melbourne for the funeral. It was right smack bang in the middle of it, and so we were there for that. And I'm very good at masking, and I'm very good at being the good little girl in a way. I remember being at the wake and sort of smiling and trying to be such a good hostess to everyone, and in my head sort of thinking like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, but I didn't want them to feel uncomfortable. I wanted to make sure everyone felt okay, and how surreal the whole experience was to be so just like shaken up. It was like a snow globe shaken up, just so bizarre.
Because, yes, he was your brother, but he was also, like, you guys were incredibly close. You worked together. Yep. Like, he was in your life every day.
Yeah. He was one of my absolute best friends. I adore, he was 8 years older than me, so I've always had a bit of a hero worship, desperately wanting him to think I was cool. And I remember at 8 or 9 years old listening to the new Prodigy album I got him, because I'm like, I like Prodigy too. I do. And now I really do. They're one of my favourites. But yeah, I adored him. We'd have a family catch up every week. I worked with him. We'd have lunch dates at work. He was a huge piece of my life that was, and a very grounding, calming. He was a beautiful, beautiful person. He was just salt of the earth and so nice. That was a huge loss.
Did that experience at that time challenge your relationship with the universe, with life in general? Like, how did that? Because I imagine there must have been this, of course, like, why us? Why him? You know, why is someone so good taken from this earth at such a young age with a young family? Yeah. Like, what was your thought pattern at that time?
That's an interesting one. I can't super, like, a lot of anger about the fact that this was so unfair. And I remember the ambulance person even saying, she's like, we can always save the arseholes. It's the good ones that are, and you're like, it's just not fair. because it was so devastating, and he'd been in the Army Reserves for 20 years. He was about to finish his officer training. He was always the person that would be there for anyone. He supported so many people through tough times. And you do think this is real, but I think sometimes we're trying to put our human level knowledge perspective on that, where that was so profound, and that I think has rippled through so many people that it's inspired so many people to be better, to get that deep lesson. I mean, if it's someone that you don't like all that much and they're going like, oh, that's sad, oh, sorry. But when it's a really good person, it made me really, really appreciate how fleeting life is, that it is so, so utterly precious. And it's a gift. It is. And I think I've always had that point of view. Like you get, I remember being little thinking, you get one shot at life. I want to pack everything into it. I love, this is awesome. Being alive and being here is amazing. And that definitely magnified that, or I can't think of the word, but it made that much stronger, that feeling for me that life is an absolute blessing. It is what you make of it. At the time, so pregnant with my third, I couldn't drink. Like, I had to do this all completely sober, and that would not have been my coping mechanism had I had a choice. I very much have always relied on alcohol to numb the edges of things. That's been a huge part of my life, and it even good things. You're like, good feelings, bad feelings, anything, just take the edge off, just smooth it out a bit, and I couldn't, and I had to experience, and I think that in itself was such a blessing, because I had to process it all. I can't escape from it. I can't go, oh, later, I'm not ready to deal with it yet. I had to.
Yeah. You were in it in real time.
Yep.
So let's go back a bit, because I want people to have a bit of context around your relationship with alcohol, what you were like growing up, and what we were like at a period of time.
Thank you.
So that they can really understand the significance of you traversing that experience stone cold sober.
Yeah.
And then I want to talk about the growth that you've had from exploring this, because I think it's incredibly inspiring. So let's go back to 12, 13-year-old Edwina. Yeah. What did her life look like at that time?
So I was a swimmer. So I was a competitive swimmer for
very high level.
For 6 years, swimming was my life, and that was going to be my career. I remember being 8 years old when the Atlanta Olympics were on. I'm like, I'm going to do that. So I was really, really heavily involved in swimming 6 times a week, training. That was massive. That was huge.
And that was like early mornings, wasn't it?
Yep. 4:45 on pool deck.
Oh,
do some gym beforehand, and then 7Ks in the pool, and then go to school.
And was butterfly your stroke?
Breaststroke. Yeah, breaststroke.
Almost had it.
Butterfly was when we were getting punished by our coach, and we had to do a kilometre butterfly. She was brutal. Very tough cookie, that one. So for a lot of that time, I had a lot of exercise, a lot of purpose. And then at 14, I had broken my leg, my foot, and looking back at it now, understanding, I was just burnt out. I was completely burnt out. I'd had glandular fever. I'd broken my foot, and it was just, I decided, I actually don't want to do this anymore. This isn't fun. I want to be a kid. I want to get an after school job. I want to be able to go hang out with my friends on the weekend, because I felt like so isolated and separate from it all, that I was just like this little professional swimmer person, that it wasn't fun. So,
but you also skipped a year.
Yep.
Was that because of the swimming?
Yeah, so the school let me skip year 8, so I went straight from year 7 to year 9, so I would have an extra year up my sleeve.
And that's when you met us.
Yeah, exactly. Quit swimming. I quit. I skipped a year level in the high, because I tried out for the 2000 Sydney Olympics when I was 11. It was purely my coach wanted me to see what it was like to do the trials, because 2004 was going to be my year. That was the one I really wanted to make. So this was like a test run. So skipped year 8, so I'd have a year up my sleeve, so I could take all of 2004 off to be able to do trials, get in the games, and I could come back and rejoin. So it wasn't too disruptive. But yes, I quit swimming before got to that point. I joined you guys in year 9. And that in itself was an interesting experience. I felt very very young and very uncool and desperately trying to keep up with these big, amazing, the cool kids that I'd seen the year level above. And I think I'm a bit of an insecure, self-conscious person by nature. I'm a little bit of an anxious, nervous.
See, it always blows my mind when we have these conversations and you've shared with me how you kind of sometimes felt like a bit of a square peg in a round hole, you know, and you kind of felt like, not that you didn't fit in, or I mean, I won't put words in your mouth, but it's always blown my mind because I've never seen you like that. Like I don't even remember the day we met, but you've just always been one of my closest friends. Like when I think about my life, and it's always felt equal to me. Like there's never been a moment where that's not been the case. So it's just interesting, isn't it? Our own internal perception versus the feedback we get from the people closest to us. Yeah. Carry on. So you came into year 9, you're trying to find your feet.
And then I think, year 9, that's when people start experimenting with alcohol and going out. And so, that and at that point, my parents were divorcing. I'd given up my swimming career, or maybe that was year 10 was sort of more parents divorcing, broke up with my boyfriend, and didn't have swimming. So just this, and my brother had moved out, my sister had moved to Queensland. So I remember looking at it now thinking how I was so sad and lonely. Like the family unit had completely dissolved. And now as a mum looking at it, I think my mum is the most strong, amazing person to have been able to be around and day in, day out try and front up and be there for me. So it was a lot, and alcohol was what I sort of turned to. I mean, like I said, I sort of felt never cool enough, so definitely using alcohol for Dutch courage at parties.
Yeah, well, especially if that's basically all we did on the weekends. Yeah. Like I can imagine there would have been that sense of, oh, well, I do this to fit in. Do you feel like you had a relationship with alcohol that sort of extended beyond that? Like was there more of a pull, or was it purely like I'm doing this to fit in?
Oh no, there was definitely a pull. Like that was, I remember I was 11 years old at my big cousin's wedding, and my brother and sister were 16, 18. And so they were having they were sneaking glasses of champagne. Well, my brother was allowed to. And I remember having a glass of champagne or two at 11 years old. Like that
that's younger than me.
that breaks my heart. Like I actually hate. Yeah. But I just like, oh, this is fun. Like this is that
you look at your eldest and he's almost
he's almost that age, and there's absolutely no bloody way over my dead body.
You'll be 35 before you have your first drink.
But it's so it definitely, and that culture back then, I think it was a lot more alcohol. I mean, we live in Australia. Alcohol's a huge part of everything. But so it's definitely there, and I loved it. I loved the thrill. I'm convinced I probably have undiagnosed ADHD, and that's a really fun little dopamine that really hit the senses, and I did enjoy it. So I loved it. It was fun. I liked the feeling of in the later teenage years, then like getting drunk, but then the absolute shame afterwards and the self-talk. It was not good. Like I really thought that was just normal. But I'm really tough on myself. I do have perfectionist sort of tendencies, and I berate myself constantly, and I'm always worried about what people are thinking, and that constant like, am I being weird? Am I being awkward? Am I like this? I've got about 15 voices chatting away in my head at any one time.
So it's no wonder that you find this elixir, let's say, that turns that volume down, and it's like, I need more of that.
Yeah, it was quiet and I was confident and life's fun. You're like, and it wears off quickly though.
And then as you get older, you go from like doing it in a partying sphere to it becoming almost like, well, this is what adults do. They have a glass of wine while they're cooking
dinner.
So
sophisticated.
So sophisticated, yes.
Moved on from Ruskies.
Exactly. Lemon Rusky. Classic. Exactly right. I actually saw a friend from school post about, who, we won't mention. If you're listening, we saw you. That was so funny. I was like, ooh, and part of my brain was like, oh, that looks delicious. It's like, no, Ash, you don't drink. I've got to remind myself. So, then we move into that realm, and you become a parent, and like, tell me more about that. Did alcohol become a bit of a crutch to get through the witching hour? Like, how did it play out in those?
So I had my eldest I had at 27 years old. So from mid-20s, things really calmed down. Like it just early 20s, very big partying, lots and lots of drinking.
We spent a lot of time at Saint.
Yeah.
We did.
Those late teenage, early 20s. And then there was a lot of those lifestyles of like going big boozy dinners and long lunches and all those kind of things. And then I loved being pregnant and being a mum. I've loved that. I think I've sort of always just wanted to do that. And so I had no issues at all giving up alcohol during pregnancy, and then breastfeeding, and sort of time it so you can have a glass of wine here or there. And yeah, it would be sort of like a let's catch up and have a night out, to have a few wines. It never got crazy again and out of control. But I remember a few times I'd always have a bit more than I wanted, like especially once the kids had stopped breastfeeding and you've got that time. On like a Friday, it'd be a Friday, Saturday night thing, and very rarely would it be drinking during the week. If it was 1 or 2 glasses of wine, but it was very much a Friday, Saturday thing. And it'd be like, I'll just have a couple, and then it's probably maybe 4 glasses of wine, and just feeling really lousy and feeling crappy, and just feeling crunchy in the morning and not feeling great. And so in your head, you're like, well, I'm not drinking a whole bottle, or I'm not going out till all hours of the night.
I'm not an alcoholic. Like, why would I need to stop?
Yeah. And do you know, I think I've like other family history and that sort of stuff. There's definitely been alcoholism in different generations of my family. So that has always been in my awareness, and slightly terrified of that, because I think I always felt like I couldn't stop at one drink. Like, you can't just have one glass of wine.
Absolutely.
That was ridiculous. Like, I could probably stop at 2 or 3.
See, that blows my mind, because like the more I have, the harder it is to stop.
Yeah.
So interesting. And it's so cool that you can share that perspective and still see the lack of control once we start.
Yeah. Yeah. It's with Hamish dying, I had to be sober for that. And so that very much, that took away a coping mechanism. I remember a beautiful osteo that I was seeing during that time, because you couldn't do much, pretty much locked down the whole time. And she said to me at one point, because she knew that my brother had died, I'd share that, and she was treating me for some pregnancy aches and pains and all that. And she said, look, you really need to process these emotions if you want a calm baby. And like she was a bit of sort of an energetic healer, as well as like she had that little something extra. She was the most beautiful soul, and she just and she left the practice soon after. So it was just like, that's perfect little, the universe just plopped her in my path for that. So I thought, okay, yeah, I will start seeing a therapist. I'll see a psychologist. Like, it's at least I can do that from home. And that helped process a lot of, and I wouldn't have done that if I was able to just numb with alcohol for a bit. It would have been, I'll get to it, but this was just like, well, it's now or never, sunshine. You just got to, and how much baggage was there, and so much family stuff. And I feel very lucky for how beautiful my parents are. They are so kind and loving, and did an absolutely amazing job. I mean, are they perfect? No, they're human. No one's perfect.
No one is, yeah.
But I feel like I had a really lovely childhood.
But so did I, and it wasn't until I was in rehab when people pointed out areas where it was dysfunctional that I actually, for the first time in my life, gave myself permission to not be perfect.
Yeah.
Like, it is actually okay to have these faults.
Yep.
Because you're just a human being trying to deal with the cards that you've been dealt.
Oh, absolutely. I can look at my parents now and see their flaws and how things went wrong and where they didn't. But I can sort of see it with a lot of grace and
it's not
compassion of
criticism.
Like, that would have been because your parents were this way and that's how the experience you had, and they did a much better job than their parents had done. And each generation gets a bit better.
Yeah, that's right.
We put in the work and we heal some stuff. So,
and so when you started seeing this therapist, he introduced you to EMDR, right?
No, so that was a different one. So this one that I saw, 21, she was internal family systems. And she was really, really very gentle and beautiful and so kind. She was just what I needed, that type. And I'm a big believer, I sort of like changing therapists around a bit at different times. So that was she was really lovely and gentle. And then I started seeing another one in 22 or 23, maybe 23. Maybe I'd given up alcohol. I can't remember. The timeline's a bit blurry now. And he was great, and he got me onto EMDR, and that was amazing how much other stuff there, because I thought, I'll go and I'll process the trauma of my brother. And we actually didn't talk all that frequently about Hamish, because it was also so acute. He tried to do EMDR with me on that, and I just wouldn't go there. I've never felt a mental block like that, but my body was just like, you're so not ready.
Not today.
Yeah, we're not reliving that one. That's nope.
Yeah.
But yeah, unpacking so much, and little things that you've. One big session I had on it, our coach used to weigh us every single Monday morning and would get skin folds regularly. But so, I mean, I'm like 11, 12 years old. In your bathers in front of the whole swim team getting weighed, and the number being read out and written down is traumatic in itself. But this one time she smacked me on the arse.
No.
And gone, whoop, got to get rid of that. And thinking like, oh my God, okay. And I didn't realise how much, like, those moments really shape how much you're like, yeah, I'm too big, I'm too fat, I'm not. And then also not ever making the Olympics and going that far, you're like, yeah, well, you didn't have it. And these like little niggles. So that was really good to go through and work through all of like that. It breaks it down a bit. It is incredible form of therapy.
It's so true, isn't it? You go to therapy, normally there's a catalyst, there's a reason why I want to work on X, and then you end up addressing everything else as well, which is incredible. Like what a gift and an opportunity. Yeah. So let's talk about your alcohol-free journey. Yeah. When did it start? I mean, obviously you mentioned your pregnancies, you didn't drink there, but when did you make that decision to go, you know what, I want to try this, and what inspired that?
Yeah. So it was March 2023, so 18 months after having my third baby, and I would have been, I stopped breastfeeding about 9 months, so it would have been about 9 months of I can drink what I want. I don't have a human being dependent on my body for its nutrients. And so it would have been, I mean, 3 kids, it's a lot. There's not a lot of spare time to be going about. It would be sort of like in the evening with dinner, have a wine, or like I said, it really was sort of Friday, Saturday, Sunday, have a couple of glasses of wine. And it really was only a couple. And even those, I'd wake up in the morning and just be like, my youngest wakes up and needs me at 6 a.m. or 6:30, and he's like, oh, I just want to sleep. Or you just, all right, I'm up, I need a coffee. And it's just, you're not on your A game, and just being so irritable that I'm like, oh, I'm being woken up. Oh, okay. And then I just had this moment where I was like, he's not going to change. He's a baby. He needs you. He's a little toddler, and he's not doing anything wrong. If you're pissed off at having to, someone needing you that you so desperately wanted, and I love the whole, but it was just feeling a bit narky and a little bit, I'm just not, I'm not waking up going, and you really should wake up going, fuck yeah, I'm alive. It's another day. How amazing. And I've got these amazing children that I desperately wanted. That should be the sort of, that should actually be your baseline norm. Like, you're going to some days not, but I actually don't think it's normal for people to wake up really angry, resenting their lives, and something is not working if that's the way. Yeah. And I just knew that alcohol wasn't making me feel good. It was making me feel just, and it wasn't hugely off. I think I was still a pretty good mum and pretty lovely, pretty friendly, pretty hands-on. But I knew that I wasn't the best version that I could be. So listening to your podcast, it'd be my weekly Monday morning drive into the office, I listened to your podcast, and hearing all of these incredible people that had like some really serious rock bottoms, but even others that it's not serious rock, but like all of these different stories, because you start then hearing so many different variety of stories, and you start identifying in some people and little segments of everyone's story. Like, it might not be one person that you completely resonate with, but little bits from everything. And I thought, well, if these people have done it, like if they've gone through and they've made these changes, and the common denominator here is that they got rid of alcohol, give it a try. Like, why don't? And I was terrified of that. Like, I really wasn't sure. All right, I'm going to do a 100-day challenge, because I knew if I did it, I'd done so many dry July, or not dry July because that's birthday month, but Feb fast,
October.
And those, like, I can go without for a month. I thought, it's got to be longer than that. So let's do a 100-day challenge, because that feels like a challenge. That feels really scary. So I'm just going to do it. I'm just doing 100 days. And I just had to repeat it daily in my head. Like, I'm just doing 100 days. I really want to do this. I'll see if I can do it, and counting. And I talked about it a lot. So I was constantly like reaffirming why I wanted to do it. Everyone, I think, thought it was so weird and so bizarre.
Except me. I was like,
yeah.
woo!
Oh, and it was awesome to have that, like, that different level of friendship. And it really is. You can connect in a completely different way when when two people are not under the influence of anything. The conversations and connection you have is just beautiful. It is so deep and so real. And
I want to come back to that because I think that's like, something that I would love to share with people, what's happened to our friendship over the last 5-6 years.
But yeah, sorry.
But before we go there, tell me more about, like, so what were you terrified of?
Yeah. I was terrified that I was actually an alcoholic, and I just had a tight grip on it this whole time. And I could manage a few glasses a week. That was like my control. I was really terrified that I couldn't actually give up alcohol completely. I was really terrified I would never have fun again, that my life was going to be so boring. I was really terrified that, like, my husband and I'm like, what if we've got nothing in common? What if I don't like him? What if I don't?
It's
we don't have alcohol.
Such a good point, though, because think about how many couples use alcohol as a social lubricant with one another.
Yeah.
You know, like, it's the weekend, let's sit down and have like, and that's fine. Like, each to their own. I'm not saying that in judgment.
Yeah.
But could you just try not?
Yeah.
You know, maybe have a look at what. Again, we're going to touch on it, but how much deeper the connection becomes.
Oh, it is. I feel so. I can be so raw and vulnerable with my husband, and he knows all of the good and bad parts about me. Like, and I have so I did the alcohol free. So I did the 100 days, and then and it was meant to finish on my birthday. So I'd timed. I was like, oh, this is great. Then I can go buy a really fancy bottle of French champagne, and I got so sick, and I got like strep throat or something, middle of winter, and I was really unwell, and I just thought, oh, fuck it, all right, well, I'm not drinking that. I'm not drinking when I'm sick. That's stupid. I need to get better.
Got it.
And then it went on a bit. I was like, oh, well, might as well do a bit longer. Let's just see how long can I go. I'll just do the rest of the year. Like, I'll just see if I can go through. And so I think it got to August, and I went to a really a family member, like family friend's birthday, and they're in the wine industry. Really amazing wine. So I was like, oh. And so I had a glass of champagne there, and I'm like, oh my God.
So how long had that been? Like 6 months?
Yeah, probably March till August. So about five or so months. And I had the glass of champagne and thinking, like, I can appreciate it was a really nice glass of French champagne, but I was just like, oh, this isn't doing it for me anymore. And I think because I didn't like wait till that 100-day challenge and it was this big prize at the end, I just kept going on, and it kind of organically came up. I was like, so I think I sort of like sipped half a glass and then sipped another half a glass of the toasts and stuff, and I was like, oh, this is so fun. I'm going to keep going. Like, this is, I'm fine. And then it would have got to like Christmas, and maybe at Christmas I would have had a glass of champagne, and still again thinking like, and immediately I can feel the effects of it, like the immediate like warmth that you sort of get through the body. It's like, oh, and then it's so that the headache or like the little just
starting to go a bit foggy would freak me the fuck out these days.
It's really disconcerting, and you suddenly feel so out of control. And so I was just like, and
disconnected from your body.
Yeah.
I don't want to be disconnected. Like, I feel like I've done so much work to make my internal world a safe space.
Yeah.
I don't want to leave that safe space now.
And just and then you're like, oh, I don't think I'm being like sharp and funny and like, and just a bit slow. And that's just after like one glass of champagne, just noticing that slight slowness. I'm like, oh, this isn't. So look, and that was 2023. We're now in 2026. I have maybe a glass of wine a handful of times a year, if that. It'll be at Christmas time, or if we're at a dinner and someone's cracked a really good bottle. And often it's just I want to try it, so I have a sip of the red, and I'm like, oh, that's really nice, and then that's enough. And I'm actually amazed I can stop at that now. Like I'm like, oh, okay, I don't need it. It hasn't got a hold over me anymore.
Well, I think what I get from that is that your relationship to alcohol has changed, and you're no longer using it to change the way you feel.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's the difference there.
Yeah.
And I love that you've come on to share your story today about your relationship with alcohol, because you've never felt the need to have to identify as being sober or, you know, have a sobriety date, which for someone like me, a full-blown alcoholic, I need those things. So if you identify as being an alcoholic, I'd suggest, you know, that's worked for me.
Yeah.
But if you're somebody who is doing this as more of a lifestyle decision, then you make the rules.
Yeah.
We have another friend, won't mention names, who's very similar in her relationship to alcohol these days.
Yep.
And I think that's really cool. I think that to not box yourself in, because then you start to go into this all or nothing again. And, oh, fuck it, I've had a drink, so I may as well have the bottle.
Yeah.
You don't have to.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then you're also allowed to have a champagne with a toast.
Yeah, there's no guilt behind it anymore. It's not this, oh, well, you fucked up, you failed. It's just, well, it is what, if I want it, I can. And then actually thinking about, do I want it? Or am I trying to, look, very much I need to use these tactics with food as well, because that's so much emotional eating. And I did that. So, like, yes, I did 2021 sober when my brother had died, and that was awful. I ate my body's weight in pastries. Like my third child is made out of Danish, quite frankly. Artisanal Bakehouse on
so
Centre
cute?
Road was my dealer. Like that was that I just emotionally eating. So I still needed that comfort and numbing from something. But I'm glad that I feel like I'm going in the right direction with all of that stuff now. It's not, I think alcohol for me was, and I've had to, I'm so much more aware of me and myself. I'm so much more accepting of myself. I don't beat myself up, like I still do, but not nearly as much. I would have said, like in my 20s, I hated myself. In my teens and my 20s, I actually hated myself and didn't love myself or respect myself or think very much of who I was as a person, constantly doubting. And now I can accept all of the grisly parts, all of the good parts, all of the and everything. And I was so worried about socializing sober, and especially me pretty much being sober has coincided with my journey of becoming a school mum. Like my eldest, had started prep, and my brother died a few weeks into that. And that was, and I was pregnant, so I was, and so I've never been the party mum or anything, but I'm actually making such beautiful, deep friendships of really who I am. Like anyone who I choose to spend time with, I hope they know that I'm so authentic, and I'm so picky with who I choose to hang out with now, because it's not, I really honestly would have used to be who will take me, who will be my friend, whereas now I can be a little bit more discerning, that's the word, thank you, about who I really want to spend my time with, the vibe, like, oh, geez, I feel amazing after hanging out with that person, and I feel alive, I feel bubbly, I feel like they're, and having a really deep relationship now. Like, I'm truly me. You're going to get all parts of me. I'm going to be really vulnerable. I'm a bit weird but you get all of that. Like, that's me now, and I'm owning that. And so, I'm not one of the mums that's, I don't always feel like the coolest mum. I definitely am not a cool mum. I'm a real massive dag. But the people that I'm friends with, I hope, like, they're really true friendships. They're really, and I've had to learn how to connect with people differently. Like the netball team, I joined that. I was nervous as hell, and felt really, really awkward trying to make friends with people. But it was really, really lovely and just rewarding, putting yourself out there and being vulnerable and trying to be friends.
So, help me understand this, because in your journey of removing alcohol, you've gone into these environments where you would have used a drink in the past to help you socialize. And yet you stayed true to this version of you who wanted to be alcohol-free for the most part.
Yep.
And I've seen you come away to girls' weekends. I've seen you, well, I'm not spying on you, but like you've told me stories about when you've had school mums over for a catch-up, or you've gone to a dinner at Maya Tiger with all the mums, and you're not drinking.
Yeah.
Like that blows my mind. How do you do that?
Look, it feels really weird, and it feels really awkward at first. Having someone to hold in your hand is so true. When you're a really socially awkward person, you're like, I just need something. So finding the alcohol-free drinks that you like.
Yes.
At the start when it was the challenge, that was a really good, I just decided, like, I would not have been in the place to go, oh, I think I've got an issue with alcohol and I'm feeling really vulnerable and worried, so I'm really just trying this out. No way. I would not have had the confidence to say that. So health challenge, I'm trying it for 100 days. It's something, a story that people can sort of accept, because it is really, what? Have a drink. That's so weird. Why? And you can sort of see people when you say, oh, no, I'm not drinking, the little flicker across their eyes of like, you're not fun. And you're like, no, I'm really fun. I'll go out till and honestly, if it's good music, I'll go out till 2 a.m. clubbing with you, or go to the amount of concerts. I've been to more concerts sober now than I ever went when I was drinking. Like, yeah.
Well, we were talking about, we went to a concert recently. You took me for my birthday. It was so much fun. And we were talking about like the concerts that we'd been to in the past that we like. I do not remember Beyonce.
I know. And we were about this far away from her.
Literally. I was so drunk that night. Except I knew where to stand. That was my only.
Oh, that was the best.
The only thing I brought to the table that night. But yeah, it's sad. You know, these people like musicians that you've idolized your whole life, and you get the opportunity to be in the same room, and I don't remember a single thing.
It's just, and really good movies, the amount of times we'll be flipping through Netflix like, I think we've watched that, and you're like, I can't remember what happened.
Well, TV shows, I would sit there shit-faced of an evening just watching a show, and waking up the next morning I would have no idea what happened.
So it's look, it is a bit awkward. I'm not going to appeal to everyone that I guess meet at school functions and stuff, and some people will be maybe put off the I'm not a big drinker. That's so fine, because I'm clearly not your cup of tea, and you're not my cup of tea. I don't want to force anything anymore. You meet people and you get a vibe check right away, and you can tell who you just like, I like you so much. and that's perfectly fine, like it is. And having that confidence now to say, well, it's okay. It's.
So what do you say these days? Do you just say, oh, I don't really drink, or
I just don't drink.
Just not a big drinker?
I just don't really drink. I don't drink. Doesn't agree with me. Fucks with my anxiety. I often say that, and the amount of times people go, oh my God, me too. And there's lots of curious little questions from people where they're like, oh, how'd you do? And it's exactly what I would have done with you. And what all my Google searches and all this of like, how do you, and like the influencers and stuff that you sort of follow where you're like, how do you do that? Like, how do you start looking for those little breadcrumbs for the path that you want to follow. And honestly, I remember early in your sobriety when you and your husband came to a group thing, and it was a Christmas party.
Yeah, I remember. Oh my gosh, I remember.
Yeah, and I just remember you guys getting there and actually having a bit of a relief, because I mean, big events, I do actually get really anxious and nervous. I feel like such a weirdo. And just thinking, oh my God, thank God I've got a sober person, because I didn't. That was, I think, I can't remember if that was when I was still not drinking then. Like that might have been during the challenge, or I had no, it was 2022, and I was just deciding I didn't really want to drink that much, because I still had young kids. We didn't want a late one because we had young kids at home. Didn't want a late one for, I think my mum would have been babysitting.
I remember that.
And just thinking this is excellent, and I felt that safety of having a sober person to be able to chat to and sit there. And I think I had one drink the whole entire event, because I was like, I don't have, and that in actually thinking, I don't have to drink.
Yes.
I don't have to fit in. Like at the start, alcohol was fun, but then it very much became I had to use it to fit in or feel okay.
And so that kind of leads me to this conversation I want to have around friendship and the connection that can occur when you get sober. And one thing that you brought to my attention, which I knew deep down but wasn't ready to look at while I was still drinking, was that change in personality that happens. And can you repeat what you told me about like the getting ready? Yeah.
I always loved our pre-drinks and getting ready together, because I would get time with you before
like the
drinks
real
had started, and it was just, and you are beautiful, and I've always felt such a connection with you. It's just, it's electric, and I love my time with you. But then as soon as the drink started, thanks. But as soon as the drink started, the wall comes up, and it wouldn't have just been, and I didn't mean that, and I think I said at the time, it wasn't just you, it would have been me too.
Yeah.
But it's just that suddenly and people don't realize it when they're drinking, but
something changes.
Yeah.
it's like an energy thing, you know, and I think the description of the wall is so perfect. It's like this, it's kind of like this glazing over of the eyes and you're like, oh, I've lost them.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean you can't still hang out, but I feel like your ability to really connect, that's no longer possible. It's kind of, if you do sit down and have a deep discussion, although I find that people don't really tend to do that with me these days. I don't know why. If they've been drinking, it's like, I don't know, like maybe they feel judged. I don't know what it is. But it's just not the same. And it's so funny because I remember, like, you know, we'd be on a night out drinking back in the day and I would have had a D&M with you and felt so close at the time. Yeah. And then the next day kind of like not really remembering much of the conversation and what did I say and all that kind of feeling.
Yeah. And it's funny, isn't it? Because then you're a little bit nervous and you're like, I feel really connected to you, but I'm not sure. Is it like embarrassing?
And did I overshare? And, you know, like, whereas now it's just, I just think our relationship has gone to such a deeper level, one that I didn't even think was possible. Yeah. And it's so crazy to think that one of the fears, one of the reasons we tell ourselves that we can't give up alcohol is we're worried about losing our friends. Yeah. And the complete opposite has happened in this instance. Yeah.
I think nothing bad will ever come from being more authentic and more vulnerable. Like it just won't. Will your friendships change? Absolutely, they probably will. There will be some people that you just do not, that will drift apart, but you will then open yourself up to such better, deeper relationships. I mean, there's a whole group of people that my husband and I used to be friends with that we just absolutely
don't see.
Zero contact. And that was very much a choice because I realised how much I'm like, that whole lifestyle was not my, there was no, and I realised I'm like, I actually don't think I ever hung out with them sober. Like very, very rarely over a 5-year period. Very rarely ever saw them. So like if you've just got drinking buddies, then like it's you realistically you probably will lose them. But also it's not such a bad thing because you're opening yourself up to the potential of meeting much better people.
People who are more
not
aligned.
Much better. Sorry, that sounded really judgmental. Yeah, more aligned.
With the version you are now.
Yeah.
And I think in our case, like I really understand when you and I met, we were both sober because we were at school and we spent a lot of time together sober, you know, and then there was this period where we probably went 15 years where every interaction there was alcohol. Yeah. And I think it's so cool now, like when we see each other, like, and I know you've said to me, like, it's like I get to hang out with the real you all the time now and I much prefer this version. Yeah. And it's so nice to hear and so reassuring to hear as a sober person when somebody says, oh no, like I way prefer this version of you. Yeah. Because you do have so much fear in losing that part of you, losing friends. Am I going to be fun? Yeah. Yeah. You know? Yeah. So tell me, when did the penny drop or did you have some kind of like moment? Was it in the 100 days? Was it after where you were like, oh, my life is getting so much better?
I definitely during the 100 days. So I timed the 100 days. I was coming out of mat leave. I quit my job that I'd worked.
This doesn't surprise me that you've been so methodical with
all or nothing and everything. And I thought, well, I'm starting a whole new job in a new place. They don't know me. I'm really, really nervous about being able to do it. I'm coming off mat leave and feeling like, oh, am I just a stay-at-home mum? Like, and not that stay-at-home mums are just, that's a huge role, but you being out of the workforce, it really takes your confidence takes a big hit. So I thought, well, give yourself the best opportunity. Do the 100-day challenge now. So I think I started that a week or two before I started my new job. And so my place, I've been there for almost 3 years now. And they only know me as like, oh, you just don't drink. I'm like, no, I don't.
It's crazy.
I used to. And I felt so good during it. Like those first 3 months of a new job, it's overwhelming when you're learning all the new things and finding your groove. It's a lot. So I thought, well, give myself the best head start. Why not time it with this as well? And I just each day, the first little bit was probably a bit awkward, and all those first milestones, like we had our wedding anniversary during it, my husband's birthday, and then realizing like, oh, we can actually do this. And I think I'd sort of eased into it over the years, having enough things where I didn't drink much or I was driving because of the kids. So I had sort of had a little bit of a
practice
trial
almost,
run. Yeah. one thing was before the 100 days, my husband and I went and saw the Chili Peppers, Post Malone and the Chili Peppers. But we're flying out to New Zealand the very next morning at 6 a.m. for my cousin's wedding. So I was like, well, we can't drink. Like we cannot drink. We need to do this. So like we can't get 3 kids out of the door for 6 a.m. for an international flight hungover. That's just, and so doing it. And I was like, this is amazing. Doing a live concert sober, like that was incredible. And that was not drinking's pretty good actually. And so then going into the 100 days, I think I'd had enough like test runs to be able to do it. And I just felt so good. And then mentally feeling so clear and starting to get that confidence and self-esteem slowly building back up during that time. Each time I had to have a social interaction and not rely on that and have to build a new set of skills. That just, I think it just sort of slowly over time, it wasn't just like a light bulb moment. It was just, it grew and grew, and I just started honestly, I feel so good. I don't want to go back to the old. Yeah. Like I feel alive.
And tell me more about what are the things that you've done over the last few years to sort of support you along this journey? Like one thing I know for sure is like you are such a hungry person for education and information. You love learning, reading, listening to podcasts. So maybe we start there. Like what did that
definitely
look like?
Yeah, yours 100%. That's my daily, yes. And then sort of when you'd have other interesting guests on, I'd listen to an episode or 2 of theirs just to hear other people's stories. Lots of journaling, lots of writing, reaffirming. Like, I mean, it's sort of like neuro-linguistic programming and all that kind of stuff. Like if you keep writing something down or keep repeating it, your brain's going to believe it. Your brain is just a whole bunch of repeated patterns or behaviours or thought. Like you can trick it into doing whatever you want. Like you really can.
Really can.
So I repeated it constantly.
Wow.
And I did the same after my brother died of life is such a blessing. Life is such a blessing. And so I conditioned myself into being really appreciative of the good things or focusing on my goal rather than fucking hate life. That's so unfair. It's so unfair. It's so like you keep saying, and even saying that twice now, I'm like, oh,
I didn't mean it.
Like you just, it really, and look, my mum was really, really good during my swimming years. She would download like a new like sports psychology article for me to read every week, and it'll be like all about programming your mind and all of that. And so I had very early days when my brain was nice and spongy, lots of examples of that working. And so I think I lead into whatever I repeat, I can then start to believe. Talking about it with friends, making sure you've got all of the options. Like I love a really nice curated life. So I'm like, well, I'll make our mini bar at home will be so pretty with all these different alcohol-free drinks and stuff. So and really making it sort of a bit of fun and a little bit of and I think what a lot of the thing we like about drinking is a lot of the ritual and ceremony around it. You get the really nice glass. You get the it's all, I still feel the same sense of relief having a really nice fake Aperol spritz in one of my pretty glasses at 5 p.m. as I would if I had a glass of wine, to be honest. And I actually feel better from this because I don't then have the crash. It's the rituals and ceremony.
Yeah, so. It's cool that you've been able to keep those. And then what about like meditation? You came and did breath work.
I love your breath work.
What was that experience like?
So amazing. I'm quite a spiritual person. I leaned really heavily into spirituality after Hamish died. I got so many signs from him, really ridiculous signs sometimes. Like I was obsessed with Hanson as a kid and he gave me so much shit for it. He was like, you were such a loser. But in grade 3, Hanson was amazing.
They were.
And I remember coming home one day just after planning his funeral or something, and there was a Hanson, I turned MTV on or something, and a Hanson video I'd never seen, and it was about someone dying, and I was just like, oh, that is so on the nose, and I just sort of stood there laughing and
Hamish.
crying, and I'm like, thank you. So leaning into spirituality, the breath work was very much that, getting the release, and just leaning in. There's a lot of, you could be really scared of those things because it is the unknown. Just lean in, just seriously surrender, give it a go, and it's just, you feel so much lighter. A lot of your yoga classes, a lot of Pilates classes, those kind of, just lots of time to really move and think. I do love meditations. I find them a little bit hard. To have that time, I use the excuse of not having enough time or a space in the house. So I think for me, I really like walking meditation or exercise or those kind of things. If I'm moving, and then I've just got time to think. So I think that really, really helps.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I'm just smiling right now, realizing that I send you like these 25-minute meditations. And you're probably like, yeah, nice try, Ash.
Sometimes I do them. Sometimes I do. And they're really lovely when I do. It's funny though, because I know how much I need to do it, because it's the brain's just like, oh, but what about this? You need to do this. You haven't sent that email. You haven't signed that permission slip. Yeah. Like, just do the meditation.
I admire you though, honestly. Like, I feel overwhelmed and busy without 3 children, and like it's just what you manage to fit into a day is incredibly inspiring.
But I couldn't imagine doing podcasts and recording this and all the things that you do. It's all everyone's just a different, and everyone's life is busy in their own way. Like it's just true. Everyone's life is meaningful and different and busy. Like it is all it's nuts. But it's such a shit show chaos sometimes, but it is beautiful, and I find it really helpful to think about like future me and thinking about I'm going to be 70 one day and my boys are going to be grown with their own families, and I might see them once a week if I'm really lucky and we have these lovely catch up, but the house will be so quiet.
So enjoy those moments now.
Yeah.
And something that you've done recently, which I think is just, again, incredibly inspiring is, and it's something that I think I've seen you start to lean into more over this last couple of years, is being able to choose yourself and to do things for yourself, knowing that in filling up your own cup, you're then going to be able to show up in your life as the best version of yourself. And you've booked in to come along to the Embodied Women Retreat, which I'm so, so excited to have you joining us there in May. But can you share, for those listening along, like tell me that thought process, because I remember talking to you about it and I was like, this is a courageous leap. Like it's not just a financial investment, it's a time investment. You're going to be away from home for 3 days. There's travel involved. Like what was the thought process for you to sort of not allow, but maybe it is to allow yourself to do that and make that decision?
It definitely feels like allow. I so often seeing like your retreats that you host and the Bali ones and all this, you're like, oh, and that longing, and it's like, oh, I really want to do that. And I think that is such I think you've probably said it and other people have said it, when you get jealousy or things, often that can be a really good indicator of what you want. Like, don't just be like, oh, I shouldn't be jealous. It's like, oh, okay, well, why am I? Like, what is that? And having that, constantly seeing that, I know, and I love the breathwork session we've done here. That is just, oh, it's so luxurious and just it's otherworldly. Like there's very, to have that time and then to realize we had to get that for like a full weekend. It's just like, oh, that just feels so luxurious and like such a treat. But as you said, I am getting better at filling my own cup first, because my whole life revolves around work or my family. Like I felt very guilty starting to do netball on a Monday night, having that time.
Wow.
But my husband does basketball, and he's always like, he's very good at filling his cup and then being so present for all of us. So I thought, right, lead by example. And it's little baby steps. It's taking that like, okay, I can do a sport each week. I can carve that time out because I am much better. I'm happier. I'm nicer. They get a really calm mum. But also it's my life. Like you get one life. It's very fleeting. It's going to feel like it goes in an instant when you get on your deathbed one day. And this is something I really want to do. Like I'm not asking to go away for a year and be like, it's not all that much to ask if you think about it. I would happily tell my husband to go do the same thing. And like I think he's done like the footy trips to Adelaide and that kind of stuff before, and I love that he's done that. And we've done girls trips before, and so I think sometimes the hard pill to swallow is when you're choosing for yourself. If it's a girls trip, you're like, oh, it's a girls trip, we're all together. It's when it's like, no, I'm actually, for me, I'm nurturing myself, and I will come back 100 times better, and it will be a beautiful, rich experience. It's like my own money that I'm squirreling away each month to pay for it. So it just has to be, at the end of the day, it is life. It is, what do you want out of your life? But this has been like a really long, long journey of me getting to this point here. Me in my 20s would have want, like, all those quotes were like, imagine this was your last day on earth and have you lived it, like, and thinking like, no, fucker, I've been at work or I've done like, but then and thinking that it had to be so glamorous and so glorious each and every day. But now I actually really, really appreciate a lot of the small, little, beautiful parts. Like I love my cuddles in bed with my kids in the morning. That's beautiful. We have dinner around the dining table all together every night. Like there's no phones, there's no devices. It's family dinner time. That is beautiful. That is a blessing in it. So, and these little micro moments that you can build up. And so, yeah, I've sort of gone off on a tangent, but having those like sort of slowly curating life in the smaller moments and then realizing you can sort of fit in some bigger moments to like what you've been after and what you've wanted to achieve. And I've really wanted to go on a retreat. I've wanted to go on a retreat for years and years and years, and it seems so fitting that it's with you. And you're the co-host
Laura,
as well.
Laura Corcoran.
Loved her podcast episodes with you. So I was like, oh, it hit. Like it really felt like the universe is like, do it. You loved both of those episodes so much. So just take the plunge, because fortune favors the brave. Like you do have to sometimes do the scary things to get the really big rewards.
Oh my God, I love that. I'm just so excited for you to come and experience this weekend away and to have you there and for you to put your trust in me. Like, you know, like I said at the top of the show, like you're such a supportive friend and our friendship means the world to me, and your constant love is something that, you know, it's not lost on me how lucky I am to have a friend like you. So
I feel very much the same way, and it's growing and evolving.
It really is. It's so beautiful. Well, on that note, Edwina, I have just loved this conversation today, and I know that our listeners are going to take so much value from your openness and your honesty and your vulnerability. So thank you. We do have a closing tradition on the show, though.
Do you?
You're like, I have them ready. So I'd love to know, what are your 3 non-negotiables that allow you to live your life today happy, authentic and free?
Love this question. I always in my head think about it when you're asking your guests. I'm like, what would I say? And it used to start out so like complicated and like really, but I've actually realized they're really 3 really simple things. I need community, connection. Like I need to have a really good conversation or see someone I love each day. I need really good nourishing food, because if I eat shit, lots of sugar or all that kind of stuff, I feel really crappy and my energy goes down, and I need to move. And if I've gone for like start the day with a walk with like one of you or something, or if I play netball and I've eaten really good food and I've seen people, or I've been like even like going to the school P&F meeting and like having that feeling like part of something, that's a great day. Like that is I'm doing well then. Like that's a joyful life. Love you.
I love you so much. We say here on Behind the Smile that when we recover loudly, no one needs suffer in silence. So thank you so much for joining us here today.
Thanks, lovely.